think we're live. I'm a tiny bit early. Who we got? We got Terry, Seth, Christopher, Lonely Crow. We got Nelson, David, Deanna, Larry. We got Ben. We got Craig. Troll. Matt, and funny ass guitar guy in Wendell. And then the other Matt. Then we got Pasquale. We got Bonkers. We got Vince. We got Fretless Ed. We got W.J. Cooper, Thunder Falcon, and Chris, Michael D. What's up, Calvin? Speaker. What's up, dude? You got Tim, James, Chris, Ian, you got to do that, right? I mean, am I right? What's up, Vimps? Double R guitar. Active pickups? No, these are Duncans. These are Duncans. Right there with the special plastic protective shield. That was making some people nutty. But here's my thing. You know, when I get these guitars, I know they're going back. I'm not keeping them. So, you know, I'm kind of a first do no harm rule. So unless it's up and like literally like hitting the strings and causing a problem, I don't take the plastics off, because that's for the person who's actually gonna, this guitar is going back to be sold as an open box, as a used guitar. This was a marked a blem, but I couldn't find a blem on it anywhere. You know, that's for the person who gets it. Besides, you know, it protects it from my hand in case but the pick scratches it. I don't want to scratch these pickups up. You know, I want to send the guitar back as good a shape as I possibly can. So that's why I don't take the, you know, that's why I don't take the plastics off. And let's face it, the tone gets sealed in with the plastic. It's tone plastic. And you're going to regret taking the plastic off of your pickups. I'm going to start a trend right now. You know, did you take the plastic off your pickups and just release all the tone out to the air? What's my sound setup? It is a modeler. It is THU. Which I don't think is on sale right now. The mobile version is on sale right now. I had an email saying last days of the mobile sale, but never pay full price for THU. You can almost always get it on sale. It's just wait, you know, a few weeks. It'll go on sale again. Exactly. I have my guitars with white gloves on. Again. Of course. Of course. I mean, you might smudge it. You might get a fingerprint on it. We're not animals. Oh my God. It's good coffee. Problem with most guitar players with the tone, it's stale. I agree. Freshen your tone up, boys. Pfft. God, what with your stale tone and all. Ox blood is nice. Yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of like the ox blood. It's like oxy and like bloody. I just can only assume if you would cut an ox open, that's what you'd see. Yeah, that's just science. What's up, Rico B, down in sunny Arizona? We were in the grossest friggin' humidity like the last 2 days. It's finally starting to break out, but you know the big storm down south came up, and it just dragged all this crazy tropical moisture up. You know, when the dew point hits like 79, it's like, oh, that is just disgusting air. But we're on the mend. I am really playing through the orange amp. Everybody knows that. Wait, hold on. There it is. You know what I was fooling around with? Where's my... Oh, God. The coding. Nice coding there, Tex. I was fooling around recently. Where the heck was it? No. Oh, that one actually kind of sucked. Yeah, I think it was this one. Right, very mid. Is it that? These I think are all based on the AC. AC 15? Just how much more mid-push that is? The only problem with that is that you can hear that coming right down the pike. You gotta... Oh, now you're talking. Let's bring those repeats up. Exactly. It's the tubes in the orange amp. Ooh. Gotta stay in the right key. I kind of like that. Strat CPO. So that's like one sort of tone. Or the other thing you can do is just bring that time way down. Kind of make it a slap back. Get it along okay with the Dinky body. Yeah, it's fairly sculpted. There is a little bit of a hard edge on the top though. Not gonna lie, because of the sculpt. But for the most part, it's not too bad. And I sort of like the raised look of it. I wouldn't say it's any worse than their flat top, because the flat top has a hard edge too. Just like the Well, actually, now that I think about it, the Ibanez actually has a little bit of a cutback on the RG. How's the neck compared to the recent Ibanez? Very similar, to be honest. Very, very similar. I kind of like that sound, pretty good. Bring that. It's almost too spread out. There it is, a little tighter. Peel off the pickup plastics. I'm going to leave that to the dude who buys it. Let me ask you this. If you bought this guitar and it showed up with the plastics on, or with the plastics already peeled off, which would you prefer if you were buying it? I'm going to say plastics on. Besides, as we were saying earlier, it locks the tone in. I pity the fool who pulls those plastics off and releases the tone. You'll never get it back. Just a... That's not bad. And then the first thing we do is stick on a big ass massive delay. But a start with plastics on from a pawn shop. It was a lemon. Well, pawn shops are kind of tricky. Just got notified your new Player II Jag got shipped. Nice. Congrats on the new guitar. Is there a cowbell pedal in THU? Yeah, hold on. Ever use a fret wrap? Like I'm one awesome fretter, like that, like a fret wrap. I don't think so. Yeah, ebony fretboard on these. Ebony fretboard. And someone mentioned in the comments, it is the Trembucker and the 59. fret wrap to stop buzz. I don't think I know about it. You mean like a wrap that goes around the, like up here to prevent the strings from sounding out from when you're playing? Is that what you mean by fret wrap? What's up, Super Lead? I'm not up with the hip lingo. Fret wrap. I'm one deaf fretter. You know I can hang. No? Different type of wrap? Where is that? Kind of woolly. Oh, above the nut? Yeah. Don't really need that with a Floyd Rose. But the ones I have that are reverse headstock, I do that because those extra long low strings they will ring out a little bit. And you know what, with all the reverse headstocks out there, you gotta do it. I also will put foam under the springs in the back to tighten it up a little bit. I don't like the spring reverb, so to speak. You know, it can be really annoying. It depends on the guitar. Some are worse than others. But it really depends on how thin the body is. But basically, literally the vibration of the springs will be picked up by the friggin' pickups. It's annoying. And then we turn on a delay, crank up the reverb. You catching my MO yet? We crank up the delay, we crank up the reverb, right? It's actually fairly bright. For being pretty fuzzy. You know, not very defined. That's flubby. Then you get up here. That's actually pretty clean, you know, for such a flubby sound on the low end. Right? Then we go back to my normal sound. It's like, oh man, it's kind of scooped. Yeah, right, on that last one, put a little, when was that? Here. Let me just turn. Let's get that stereo delay. Bring that reverb up a little bit. Turn the chorus on. And really turn it on. Gotta hit the right notes. Way flubby though. The distortion isn't really tight enough for 80s. Right, way too flub. You know, versus like way tighter. EVH Hydra, I haven't seen it. Is there a new, and then here, and then, oop, EVH gear. Not seeing it, bro. See the star. You mean the star? Unless it's you're talking an amp. Guitar, they have the Wolfgang USA, the Wolfgang Special, the 5150, the Striped, the Wolfgang Standard, and the Wolfgang Standard Exotic. Then they got the Shark, and they have the Star. Not seeing a Hydra. Got your brands right there, bro? You must have seen the Cory Feldman footage. Sort of made the rounds this week. I can't believe people were accusing him of not playing. He's absolutely playing. Pretty shittily, too. If you thought that was good guitar and some, like, ace guitar player was playing that, you are insane. That was terrible guitar, and he absolutely was playing that terrible guitar. How often do I use the amps on my left shoulder? Only when I have company over. That's about it. Maybe twice a year. I go through headphones, 99 and infinite nines. You know why? Because it sounds better. Yeah, right. So bad it had to be live playing. No, it just he was trolling the audience. He had a look on his face like, yeah, I'm up here, I'm doing this, you showed up, you paid for this, and this is what you're getting. He was trolling them. That was a straight up, you got Rick-rolled real time. You got Fell-rolled. You got Cory-rolled. He was absolutely trolling the audience. Quite effectively, too. But my neighbors are missing out. Not really. Yep, you got Cory rolled. You got Cory'd. Many just didn't get it. Well, when someone is that good, it's often beyond the comprehension of people. No, he was trolling. He was trolling. You could literally see the look on his face. And no, I'm not pulling the video up because you copyright, and I don't need that nonsense. You just look up Cory Feldman. God, like 1,000. There were plenty of people that stole that footage and threw it up there. This guitar player was playing, and people couldn't believe it. It's like this guitar player shocked everyone. Genius, really, exactly. That's not Buddy, that's Cutie. Buddy's a lot older. Cutie's 4 years old. I know, I guess it worked. We're all talking about it, exactly. No one can imitate the look on his face for comedic value. Cory Feldman is you know, a thespian, a trained actor. You know, I wouldn't even begin to be able to, you know, pull those moves off. Exactly, Cory Feldman, nice. I'd say say that's the best one so far. We've been reaching for something. I'd say Cory Feldman is the most successful one. Cory had a lot of effects on. Oh, sure, that's part of the troll. It's all part of the troll. Feldman actually has something of a musical talent, and not really. He can get just enough that he can play these like 3 notes over and over and over again. And that's about it. If you notice, it was a pretty tight sequence. And, yeah, it's pretty funny. Is Cory Feldman related to Marty Feldman? I don't believe so. Cory Feldman is American. I think Marty Feldman was British, right? You sped up a recording yours and pass it up for normal speed once? Sure. I didn't do that, but someone once gave me a recording, and I had a Floyd Rose guitar, and I didn't have it in tune. So I just like, you know, I had a variable speed recorder. I just changed the speed on the recorder and then played, but then when they played it back at normal speed, it was all screwed up. I was out of tune. I was like, oh, really? Oh, yeah, I guess that would be. I like tune them to me. Like, yeah, no, I can't do it. No. I was like tuning the E flat. I just tuned them down until I was like, oh yeah, there we go. Then I did it. They're like, dude, we can't. No. What about Steven Seagal? I think he's pretty bad too. Usually they have a pretty smoking band. And then, you know, then they come out and shit all over it. Exactly. If Cory Feldman were live today, he'd probably be playing the Jackson Pro Mod. He's not dead, but his career is. Ba-dum-bum. No. I know. I can't believe that people think that Cory Feldman thing is actually fake. Oh no! I assure you, that's all too real. Or that is something that like is good enough. That's nothing to be proud of. That playing. Do people actually think that's good playing? Because that's a tone-deaf listener. Yeah, no, you're right. Jeff Daniels is actually a pretty damn good player and singer. He's quite the musician. Well, Feldman will always get an audience. I know you're saying at least he's playing in front of people, but he'll always get an audience because he has, you know, he's got he's a famous guy, right? He was in a couple of big movies. He had a string of, like, really big movies in the 80s as a, you know, a teen actor. So there's always a little train wreck aspect to it, right? When he shows up dressed like Michael Jackson. It all feels a little train wreckish. And you know what you say, you can't look away from a train wreck. Yeah, exactly. He's got the cachet. He's got drawing power. Like it or not. Again, some to see could he play, and others to say, I know he can, and I just want to watch this train wreck. Either way, he's drawing a crowd. Oh no, he wasn't lip syncing. That was not you know, fake playing, and he has some ringer in the back playing. I assure you, that was all Cory. I think I saw that same footage of Jeff Daniels on Kelly Clarkson's show. That footage just sort of made the rounds because everyone was like, he can sing and play? And like, quite well? Huh? Huh? Impressive. Cory Feldman can play the guitar. We saw him at the NAMM Creators Party. He sang a song. Yeah, I was at that party, Johnny. You're very kind. Let's just say you're a very generous man. Yeah, no, Steve Martin is a legit banjo player. I did play. What's his name? Called me up. Dovey does. Steve from Boston. I'm like, you mother. And we did. You really got me. So Johnny, I don't know if you know this, but the problem with that is that I started with. It was a bit of a train wreck, and here's why. I started with the Schecter Razor guitar, if you may recall, which was great. It had the humbuckers. The problem is the body prevents you from playing past, like, you know, the pretty much like about the 12th fret, you know, position. You can't get up into the G position or the A position, right? There's the body's there. You can't get to it. And you really got me as an A. So when I went to go up to the like A fret, I was like, oh my God, there's no there's no reach, there's no upper fret reach on this guitar. And so I was like, oh, I don't think this is gonna work. We're like already started playing. So I ripped that off and I threw the Strat on, but those Strat single coils were so light compared to those humbuckers. Now I can't get enough distortion. We're trying to play You Really Got Me in metal. So W just had to run over and crank the distortion up real quick, and then it all went fine after that. But there was at first there's no upper reach, and then I go from like, you know, this really high output. Those Schecter pickups were a high output, way more than those Strat pickups, you know. Oh my God, what a friggin' nightmare. Exactly, the unergonomic razor design. Yes, it kind of does sound like that White Snake, yeah. Yeah, exactly, it really got me. Wow. Good night. Oh no, it's still a show going on? Oh, okay. That's how I should have ended it. Good night. Oh no? Oh, sorry. And no more Aerosmith tours. I was lucky enough to see Aerosmith. It was a short set. It was at the Walden Woods show, so not everybody was, they weren't full sets, but they did great. They were pretty freaking awesome. I could probably look up and find the set. Welcome to Cool Bro, Chris. Oh my God, we have a new member. Christopher. Shame. Welcome to Cool Bro. Oh yeah, you saw that. I remember that tour, the '87 with Dawkins. Yeah, that was a very successful tour for them. So I'm trying to think of when that Walden Woods show was. I guess that had to be either like 92 or 94 or 97. I feel like it was in the mid-90s. 94? Something like that. Better retire than the tour past your time. Absolutely, but I don't really, Steven Tyler's like 76. Those guys are all, I think they're all in their 70s. Brad Whitford is up there. I remember during, I think it was during COVID, a lot of people had been jumping on Zoom stuff. And somebody was interviewing Brad Whitford, and they're like, oh, I have an interview with Brad Whitford. And I was like, cool. And the picture they showed of him, I said, there's no way he looks like that. This picture's probably 10 years old. And sure enough, when he was actually on it, he looked much older. That had to be like an older promo. Oh, no way. Oh, my God. Look at all these. We got all these new members. Wow. Wow, we got some names here, people. We got some names. Who we got? Johnny R. Kramer. Herb Fireside Studios. William De Silver. Dustin Miles DeLee. I think I saw D. James. There's Hit Metalworks in there. Larry John, Green Meanie, Andy Thomas, and Steve Resser. Did I miss anyone? We got some people. So if you don't know, what is the guys? Is it? It's colon SFB, right? You hit the colon button and then SFB, and then all the custom emojis show up. Custom emojis. And then, of course, the once a year special live show. You don't want to miss that. Nice. Exactly. Have you ever thought about doing a Patreon? You know, Sammy, I wrestle with that. I set it up a very long time ago. I actually had 2 patrons for like a couple of years, and then they realized I wasn't paying me like $1 a month until they realized I wasn't doing shit on Patreon. And, you know, I go in and out of like, do I want to do Patreon? Do I don't want to do Patreon? It really feels like e-begging. I wasn't crazy about it. I felt like, at least when they do memberships here, you know, it's like it's during the live show, you get customs, you know what I'm saying? And so then you try to think about like, well, what tiers could I do on Patreon? What could I offer on there? I don't really do like lessons and tabs, which is I think what 90% of what people do when they go on Patreon. So I didn't know how to tier it. I didn't know how to do it. You know, the reason why people go to Patreon and they don't go to YouTube is because Patreon takes like 8% and YouTube takes like 45%. It's quite a difference in percentage. So that's why people love Patreon. Patreon is actually made by a guy, you know, who is, you know, in the community, and he's like, you know, we don't want to like strip out like all this overhead costs and like make a bunch of people rich, you know, by scraping off of other people's tips. So their percentage is very low. I think it's like 8%. Versus like literally it's like 45% through YouTube. People say no, it's less, but I've done the calculations. I'm telling you, it's right around 45%. Patreon just means more work, right? Good evening, Justin. I know, but you shred and have cool cats. I know. There's some value to that, I suppose. Especially the cat part. Good point. You know. OnlyFans, be shirtless in the banana hammock. You know, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say nobody wants to see that, not even my wife. Let's say it would be seared into your retina. You would have trouble sleeping at night. Am I going to keep the Jackson? Nope, the Jackson is a loner. In fact, I just shot this afternoon Monday's video. Got a new video coming out on Monday. Exactly. How can you censor for less than 45%? Exactly. Exactly, Mike. If casinos can get rich off at 2%. Though they have quite the stream going there. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Was I a CC DeVille fan? Not really. I felt that Poison was way more pop than metal. They were really a pop band. You know, A Quiet Riot was a pop band, but on the continuum between pop and metal, I felt they were way more on the metal end, right? Sliding towards the metal side of it. Whereas Poison was definitely straight up in the, you know, in the pop side of it for sure. Just distorted guitars and the glam look. You know, Rat, actually, those guys are players. I was always surprised that they didn't have more success. They really only had like a handful of big tunes. But, you know, I guess they really only had, 3 or 4 big tunes. Right? Of course, Round and Round and Back for More are the 2 I can really think of off of the first album. And then, of course, what's the one off of the second album there? Title track, right? You know that one. That other one. Wanted Man. Lay It Down. Lay It Down. Lay It Down. No, Eddie's got it right. Lay It Down from the second album. Again, I just felt like they were on a trajectory to do more hits. They got in early enough. I think the other bands that sort of suffered got in kind of late to the game. And then very quickly everything went grunge and then it was all over. But they were in early. Rat was out in 84, 85. They were in pretty early in the game. I want to say Lay It Down. Out of the Cellar comes out in 84, right? Lay It Down comes out in 85. There's plenty of time left. And they never really went off from there. And you wonder if it was just, I don't know. Sometimes it's band dynamics. There's all kinds of things. Yeah, no, Warren DeMartini is a fantastic player. That whole band was actually pretty damn talented. You know who's actually pretty damn talented? And I saw recently I saw some live footages, and they still sound good despite their songs being kind of tricky to sing, and that's Def Leppard. They're on kind of like a big tour right now, kind of a big nostalgia tour. And I gotta say, the footage I've seen, they've sounded pretty damn good. And those are not easy songs to sing by any stretch. Yeah, the thing about EVH is that by the mid-'80s, he's had a switch too. Way more pop. He saw the writing on the wall and started to switch over. And selling songs like Dreams to the Olympics, right? And Right Here, Right Now, to the NBA. Rake in that money. Absolutely. Sell it all. Cash those checks. Did Rat and Poison ever tour together? No, but when I saw Rat, which I want to say was 85, Bon Jovi opened. They only had really one hit, which was Runaway. And that would have been 80. That would have been 85. Right Here, Right Now. Went to Pepsi too. Yeah, that was a good song to sell. Right? If you listen to Dee Snider, right, any recent thing, interview, it might come up. They'll say, so Dee, how do you make your money? Can you really just live off of the earnings from Twisted Sister? He's like, oh yeah, no, we sell that song. We sell I literally have a lifetime of earnings off of 2 songs. We license, we're not going to take it on all kinds of commercial products all over the world. And the same with I Wanna Rock. He goes, those 2 songs have just been licensed over and over and over again. And I've literally made a lifetime of earnings from it. And I was like, good for you. Cash those checks. And because of that, I think Dee is poised to sell that catalog at some point. But again, he's probably not. I'd have to look and see who the owners are. But that's generally what happens. You get a little older and you're like, you know what? I worry about my kids managing this. Let's just turn this into a trust fund, right? And sell it out. Right? Take the. It's almost like when you win the lottery and you say, I want to take a much lower upfront cash, buyout versus earnings over, 20, 40, 60 years. Because some of those winnings are for quote unquote life with a minimum payout of 20. But if you lived 60 years, I believe they're obligated to pay you for the 60 years. just reading through some of these comments. So is WASP touring with just Blackie Lawless at this point? Because I think Chris Holmes is living in Europe. I don't know that anyone else in the band is touring with him. I think it's just pretty much Blackie Lawless. Blackie's voice is like gravel going through a wood chipper. You know what? It was in style between 1984 and 1986. Then not so much. But for a couple of weeks there, I saw WASP. They opened up for Kiss. And Chris Holmes was in line at the Burger King. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the guitar, because he's so tall. Like, he was wearing a trucker hat. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the guy from friggin' WASP getting himself a Whopper. Yeah, Muse. I don't really know much about them. I'm always sort of interested when I see, like, you know, I met this guy at SpiritCon 2. This guy, Perry, super nice guy, really amazing guitar player. But he plays in this band called Palladium. I don't know, freaking Palladium from a freaking hole in the wall. But then I follow him on Instagram, we follow each other on Insta, and yeah, I'm seeing him play these massive crowds. Apparently, that Palladium band is pretty freaking huge in Europe, or huge enough. And then there was another guy I was hanging out with there for a while, this guy Mikey Demas. And he plays in a band called Skindred. And again, he's posting photos where he's seemingly in front of 30, 50, 80,000 freaking people at these giant festivals. And so they seem to be playing big crowds. Yeah, the Holmes in a swimming pool interview. That's a classic. Yeah, right. The decline of Western civilization, part 2. So part 1 was punk, part 2 was metal. Yeah, Dawkins is still touring. Speaker and I, we went to go see Lynch. I want to say, dude, that was like 12 years ago. Right? Not like 2012 we went to go see George Lynch. I don't even know that venue is still even like doing shows, right? Wasn't that at like that new venue out at Patriot Place, right? Showcase Live? I think Showcase Live is like friggin', I think it's all private events now. Right? They don't do like shows where you can rent the hall, which is exactly what they did, right? They rent the hall and then they charge the tickets at the door, and you hope you make a profit, right? Right? Question marks and then profit. It's a juice bar now, really? Wow. Interesting. Probably got some money by selling off that liquor license. All right, making a juice bar and sell off, yeah. I tell you, and then the other thing is, they were trying to make a place for live music, but it's kind of a weird venue with all those tables. You know what I'm saying? It felt more like dinner theater. And then you got a place like they just opened up Roadrunner. That was in the last 3 or 4 years. And then MGM, which was in the last like year or two. So now you have these like 2 brand new venues in the city. It's got to be killing, like, no, they're not going to go out to Foxborough, right? Then you know what they wind up playing? They wind up playing like the Greasy Luck, right? A smaller venue. or Rascals, or the Paradise. You know what, I was interested, I don't know if I mentioned this, I might have mentioned it last week, but I was kind of curious about Night Stage. Used to see a lot of bands at Night Stage. And, it's not a lot of photos of it, except for the Fish heads, the people that are way into the band Fish, because Fish played there a bunch of times. And those people are such archivists and mentally, like, insane about, like, any little thing related to Fish. You can find photos of the venue there, right? Those are one place you can still find photos of friggin' Night Stage. Thank God. What's up, Peter? Good to see you, man. Oh. Exactly. Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, right? Actually, I don't know that one, Peter. I never really learned a lot of the Journey stuff. Again, they were a little, just slightly too pop for me. You know? I never really got totally into Journey. Yeah, now the song's stuck in your head. Oh, no, they had the killer solos. Famously, they played, God, I forget the show. I think it was on ABC. But it was like Saturday night concert or something, and it was Journey. And they were killing it. That was in like 1980, 1981. And Neil Schon had the Les Paul with the Floyd, like a trem. I think it looked like the original Floyd Rose without the fine tuners. Right, kind of. I'd have to go find that footage. Kind of locked up. Right, so some of that old, like ABC, for those guys, they're really good at like tracking it down and knocking it out on YouTube. So some of that older stuff is a little tricky to find. Yeah, remember that guitar, right? Exactly. If Carlos Santana was still alive, he'd still be playing a Kiesel Headless. Exactly. If Alex Lifeson was still alive, he'd probably be playing a pro soloist. Playing a Jackson. You just ordered a Kiesel Headless, yeah? You know who's making a big push on the headless guitars like this past week was Ibanez. They announced like a half dozen new models. They're really making the push into the headless stuff. I think they'd like to see, take a little bit of wind out of Kiesel sales and see if they can soak up some of that market. Yeah, no, Alex, was it Alex Lifeson that kind of pushed for the Axis? That whole thing with the, right, the Les Paul with the Floyd Rose on it? I really remember him playing them. I feel like he was like, yeah, you know, I'd play a Les Paul, but you got to put a Floyd Rose on this thing. Your cousin from Boston. Oh, my God. That was like every other kid I went to school with. Johnny Depp is a credible wine buyer. I'm sure. He probably has, you know, a sommelier that he can get information from. A really gifted sommelier can, like, really rip apart a friggin' wine. And say, this is good, this is shit. They're pretty good. Because they drink so much of it, and they don't really even swallow. They just, you know, take a couple of, you know, like, you ever seen the ice cream tasters? Kind of the same way. It's like, and then they spit, and they're like, no. Because they like, you know, if you consume it all day, you're gonna get drunk, or you're gonna get fat, right? It's like, we can't, if you're a taster, you spend most of your day spitting food out of your mouth. Right? Kind of how the job works. What's up, Zofo? Really, $90,000 a month on wine. That's a respectable neighborhood. Yeah, coffee tasters the same way. Anyone in the tasting business, you know, that you spend your day with a spittoon. Thank you, Music Therapy Laz. Been a minute. Have a brewski on me. I will. Thank you. I can't drink wine. Wine gives me a headache. I think it's the sulfites or something. I can drink beer, no problem, but wine, it makes me sick. I can't drink wine. Ice cream tasters use marble spoons. They have to use a, what would they call that? A neutral, right? Like wood would have a taste, the metal will have a taste, right? Just how they consume caviar, right? Sort of the same way. It has to be just the right type of spoon so it doesn't impart a flavor to the caviar. That was the craziest booth I ever saw at Costco. One time I went to Costco and this booth was so jammed. It's like you could barely get near it. And I finally was like, what is it? What are they giving away? They're giving away caviar. And everyone wanted to try it. It was just like black caviar. Which, if you ever had caviar, is basically like salty gelatin. Stop whining. I get it. Yeah, sturgeon eggs. Yeah, we never. Yeah, the only time I ever had caviar was at a Costco. was at a Costco friggin' what do they call it? Kiosk stall. Living the good life. Going to Costco, having caviar. Salty. Salty fish eggs. Okay. Do I like sushi? You know, I don't hate it, but I'm not a, you know, I'd rather have Chinese food. Take a poo-poo platter over friggin' sushi any day. I also really like Thai food. You know, lime and coconut, and they can do some really good stuff like with like shrimp, and it can be really good, especially like basil pad Thai and things like that. Really, really good. But I would say that the Japanese style stuff is my least favorite. Thai is awesome. Yeah, what's the thing? It's a coconut curry. Right, it's coconut milk and it's like a curry, and it's like you can either get it with a shrimp or you can get it like with chicken. It's probably called coconut curry. It's really good though. It's very flavorful. And then they make curry. We like the yellow curry because they make a red, that's I think the hottest, and then they make a green, I think that's the weakest, and the yellow, that's right in the middle. We usually get the yellow. Massaman is actually a little bit less heat than the yellow, the straight yellow curry. I don't know where you're going, Alan. I'm not sure that place was actually a restaurant. I have any coffee left? I do. Oh, do. All bias aside, but Greek food is the best. Greek food can be good. A lot of lamb. And I gotta say, I do like the feta. It's good. In fact, there's a local place that makes a, they call it, I think, the Mediterranean. But it's basically like spinach and feta and no red sauce. But it's like a pizza. It's like a flatbread. It's really friggin' good. My wife thinks it's maybe a little too salty, but I'm like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. I don't think I've ever had Vietnamese food. You know what we have had, though, a few times is Indian. Which is, it's sort of curry, but it's a different type of curry. I've had the Korean, though. Someone just mentioned the bibimbap there. I've had that. Had that in New York City. It was really good. We went to this Korean place. My wife was like beside herself. She's like, it's so good. I'm like, all right. It's okay. She was like, really good. I'm like, I know. It is. It is. And two of the guys from Vola are Korean. They're from Korea. And they would take us out to Korean barbecue, and they would tell us, you know, out in LA, when we would go to the Korean barbecue, this is real Korean barbecue. Like, this is the only place we have been to where we are like, this is exactly what it's like when we went back home. And that was really good. You know, they get that like a barbecue going in the middle of the table. You're cooking up all kinds of stuff. This is really good. And then they closed. The last time we went there, the Korean restaurant was closed. Couldn't go there any longer. I was going to friggin' Habit Burger. Let the good times roll. All right, Steve, get some Vietnamese pho soup. You know, my wife likes that, and I haven't had that. I'll have to find a place around here that does it with the rice paper spring rolls. Yeah, I do like the rice paper spring rolls. We used to go to this Thai place that was literally out of a truck down at MIT when I was working in Cambridge, and their food was so goddamn delicious. It was so amazing. And they would sell out. If you didn't get there early, you probably wouldn't get the dish you'd want. You'd go up there and half the items would be off the board because they would just sell out. They would show up. They would have all their food ready to go. They would rip through a line of 200 people, were sold out and gone. Their food was so friggin', their Thai peanut chicken. Oh my God. And it was this enormous plate of food. And when we first started going, I want to say it was $2 or $3 for that giant plate of food. Oh my God. You could not, oh God, you could not get enough of that place, that food truck. And they made enough money from the food truck, they eventually opened a restaurant. So friggin' good. He would do like chicken Pop's way, right? And because the guy was called like Pops. And it was like this chicken in this like sweet sauce. Of course, he puts it over a bed of rice. And he mixes in like these vegetables. He puts all these vegetables in. And then he puts the chicken on, which is just amazing chicken in a sauce. Like everything was rice with some sort of chicken in a sauce or vegetables in a sauce, right? They knew how to serve up like Thai peanut chicken, right? And then he'd cover it up with the cilantro, and you'd get back, you would open that up, and the aromatics. I was like, oh my God, this was. And again, when we first started going there, it was like $2, and then eventually they went to $3. Oh God, those were the days. That was like 97, 98, 99, 2000, right around there. Oh my God, that place. And now I don't think they let them. I was actually down there within the last year. I was down in that area, and I don't think they let them park there any longer. They shut all that down. And I think they have like designated parking spaces now that are more like down in the middle of the MIT campus. But that's a pain in the ass to get to. And now you're fighting with students, right, to in a line. The whole thing about the Thai peanut truck, that's what we used to call it, the Thai truck, was that it was really for workers, right? It was in front of like a whole bunch of, office buildings. And really catered to the office crowd. The funniest is that I remember, I'll never forget this. We're waiting in line, and there was this woman in front of us. It was like her first time there, and she's trying to figure out what she wants. And then she finally gets it, and she orders it. And then she goes, and I want a water. And the woman pulls out, a bottle of water. And she goes, oh, no. Tap water. You want tap water from the truck. Well, hold on. Let me just hook up the pipes. There's no tap water on a truck, lady. She's like, that's all I have. She was like, oh, never mind. Tap water. Oh. She's just so used to saying tap water all the time. She's at a goddamn food truck on the side of the road. No, 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 no. Just turn the faucet on. Sure. Sure. Ripped her music therapy lessons. Father passed away. That's sad to hear. Was she an MIT student? No, definitely not. You knew the MIT students because they would usually, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine about like upcoming. It was right around the time they were making the change from 4:3 to 16:9, and we were talking about screen aspect ratios, and this dude spun around. He's like, actually, it's 2.35:1 for most theatrical performances. The HCTV spec is only going to be 1.85:1, so it's actually not exactly the same as like theatrical performances. I'm like, okay, cool, all right, sounds like you know about this. I had to put a new windshield in my daughter's car this week. She had a rock fly up and crack her window. So, called up my guys. It was actually pretty good. What's so crazy is how much Safelite has just wrapped up that whole market. So when I called my insurance company, I said, hey, my daughter's windshield had a rock hit it. The windshield's cracked. Do we have glass? He's like, oh, yeah, you got glass. But they actually have it. It's like a separate insurance. Right? So they give me this thing, and this woman from Kentucky calls me about this thing, and they're basically from Safelite Glass Insurance. I was like, oh, you're not a part of my regular insurance company? They're like, no, it's like just for glass. It's like, oh, okay. You can bring it to any Safelite. I was like, well, I kind of wanted to go to this other place. They're like, oh, you can bring it anywhere. You don't have to go to Safelite. But man, Safelite just has that. It's just, what a racket. They have that whole thing just wrapped up. It was literally Safelite Insurance. I was like, wow, that's, Miss Giant Glass is gone. J.N. Phillips Glass is gone. All the glass companies are gone. The only ones left are these small independents. It's tough out there. So I was like, no, I don't want Safelite. So I have played a Richlight fretboard. I didn't really feel a difference between ebony. If anything, it might be slightly rougher, right? And just a hair, right? A little bit more matte finished feeling. But even that, I guess it would just depend on the final dressing by the maker. Yeah, Richlight's sort of a weird thing. It's basically it's a countertop material, right, or a table material. It's basically a resin with newspapers in it to make it dark and give it sort of a matte look. But it will last, from what I understand, an incredibly long time, and it's very stable. Save lights, Walmart or windshields. Yeah, I wound up going with, a local guy because I just felt like, well, I used them for the woman when I broke the lady next door's, when I broke her window accidentally with my friggin' weed whacker. I chipped a rock off the side of her car and smashed out her side window there, the driver's side rear window. I called them in the morning. They came out the same friggin' day and did it. And they were $75 cheaper than Safelite. I called Safelite too, who couldn't do it until for 3 days and was $75 more. So it just felt like I could, this place was cheaper, and that guy was totally pro. Totally pro. Solar uses rich light, feels fine to me, yeah. Ever play that old ballroom in Lowell? No. No, where have I played? I did play the Ranch House. If you guys remember that. Where was that, in Weymouth? Used to call it the Ranch House. That place was a dump. They have people rolling around. It was Safelite that broke the window to start. Yeah, right. She was just going down the road, and she, you know what I think it is? I'm pretty sure on that stretch of road, it's pretty rural. It's in between like one town square. Then it gets actually rural for quite a while as it gets to the edge of town and the start of the next town. And at the edge of that next town over, I'm pretty sure they have a gravel company. So I wouldn't doubt a gravel somehow makes its way out onto the road, and you wind up getting, pinged in the windshield. Oh yeah, you hear the Safelite commercials every day. God, I know. They're like the only one left that's a big name. There's no other big name glass company. They were all bought up by Safelite. Exactly. I turned my weed whacker into a stone launcher. Exactly. You get paranoid when you're behind a dump truck or a bulldozer or anything. And they're supposed to have flaps, right? But you never know. You just kick up a rock. You try to keep a distance. I don't know the Safelite song. Exactly, the gravel company and Safelite are in cahoots. I live 3 miles from a giant quarry. It's always a crapshoot if you're going to get rocks kicked up. Yeah. Yeah, believe it or not, in the city of Boston is a quarry. And, which sounds like a ridiculous waste of money, but they've been digging that quarry for 100 years, and it's not going anywhere. And you forget, like, how much of that gravel works its way out to the street. So you're driving down, the street there, and you forget, oh, that's right, there's a quarry in there. Does Mass have a zero windshield deductible? I think so. Well, we didn't pay a deductible. So, it's certainly available. We didn't have to. It was just, they just showed up and fixed it. They were doing a big, overpass project on the highway. And so, pretty far in off the highway, off this, single lane road all the way back to the construction place, all the way out to the highway. They were forming and building, like literally right out there, these enormous overpass forms, right? Like these big, like a stanchion or something, right? That literally holds the overpass up. So they'd make these forms, and they'd put it all together. Right? They got everything all together, and they're filling them, and they would bring out. When I tell you a parade of goddamn concrete trucks, I mean there had to be 50 to 100 concrete, cement trucks a day for like months and months and months. You could not drive down that road without a goddamn concrete big cement truck going by. It was just a parade of trucks for weeks and weeks, like months. I was like, oh my God, this project, and finally it ended. I was like, oh my God, this friggin' project. So many friggin' trucks worth of concrete. Oh, this is getting stuck on my foot here. There we go. What'd I do? I know it. Oh, I'm like, I knew it was getting stuck. There it is. Like, hold on, let me just move my foot, and I rip it right out. This is called oxblood. Oxblood. I have a link down in the description. Unfortunately, they do a lot of like quilt tops. You got to look around if you want to find the oxblood one. Do I use thin picks? No, I use thick picks. Did you say thick or thin? I use thick picks, yeah. Like 3 mil and higher. And here in California, they do a free repair every night. Traffic is almost unbearable. Yeah, actually, a friend of mine I went to college with is the sort of the lead, for a wildlife overpass project that I guess there's like a lot of roadkill, right? Because the highway is so damn wide and animals get cut off. And so I guess based on what they've done in Europe, because they had the same problem, they built this big like wildlife overpass, and it worked. Eventually, the animals figure out that's the best place to cross. And it cuts down on, quite frankly, people getting killed when they hit animals on the road, and animals getting killed when cars hit them. And, right, there was all kinds of problems because they'd get trapped. They get trapped in like they get landlocked, and they couldn't get back out without crossing over the highway. And as you know, the highway in California is not like around here. Around here, 3-4 lanes on either side. California can be 5-6 lanes on both sides, like ridiculously wide to try and get across. So I think they find a stretch that's kind of like the narrowest and kind of high up, and then they just connect it so that they can go over. It's been going on for a while, and they finally started on it maybe 3 months ago, and it's moving along. She posts on Facebook all the time, like, the steel girders are in, and now they're building up to the size of it, and then we'll add it's been going. Exactly, Quilson's flame tops forever. deer a couple of years ago when Wisconsin told your CRV. Yes, it's not just the death of the animal. There's car damage and there is human casualties, or certainly injuries, because they try to swerve. Like, your instinct is to swerve, and then you lose control of the vehicle, and the next thing you know, you're in a rollover, or like you're smashing into another car. It's not just good for the animals. It's actually good for people too. So yeah, it feels like they've been working on it for about at least 3 months now. We'll see if they do a if they do I'm sure they'll do a final thing when it's finally done. But the thing is, it's hard to get government funds for that. I'm pretty sure it was like mostly privately funded, right? Hold a lot of fundraisers and you finally get the funds together. And then maybe you get the government to kick in a little bit more, and then you got to get government approval. That's the main thing, which in California can take forever. But it's going. It's been a project. It's been a while, but they broke ground, like, I swear to God, like three months ago, and it's been going on. It's a freaking pretty huge project, and I think it's the first one of its kind, and so should be interesting to see. Yeah, especially in the cottage area of your part of Ontario, a lot of accidents and damage from wildlife. Yeah, well, you're flying down the highway, you're doing like 60, 65 miles an hour, and all of a sudden something's in front of your car. And like, if you know anything about deers, a deer in the headlights, they literally freeze. And they don't keep running. And you're like, no, you keep running, run out of the way. And they don't. And then it's boom, you hit the friggin' deer. And, the deer's flying through your friggin' window. It's like, Well, this escalated quickly. A friend of mine one time hit a deer very, very late at night coming back from a gig. And he goes, I never saw the deer. I just heard the boom, and I knew I hit something, and I pulled right over, and I called the police, and they sent the troopers down and everything. And I waited, and they looked, and they said, oh, you hit a deer? And his car was a little wrecked, but not too bad. And they basically said that he was lucky he didn't see the deer, because they said usually what happens is people see the deer and they slam on the brake and the car drops down the front and scoops the deer up, and the deer will come over the windshield, over the hood, and break the windshield. They're like, you never saw the deer, so the front end remained at level, and you just hit the deer. Like, you're actually kind of lucky you didn't see it, or this would have been much worse for you. You're very lucky. Yeah, we don't really have moose here. We do have deers, though. I remember going over to get my daughter and her boyfriends and going down this back road and stopping, and a whole herd of deer. There had to be 15 deer went across the road. I was like, deer crossing, apparently. Hit a deer, it just exploded. Yeah. Well, when you're going that fast, you know, the damage is swift and severe. Exactly. It's crazy how they can read those signs. Your wife is from Newfoundland. And a moose walking down the side of the Trans-Canada Highway. Holy balls, it was huge. No, oh no, moose are big. And very scary. You don't mess with a moose. You don't want to mess with a moose. They will stomp you. The deer have gotten brazen over the years. Yeah, a lot of liquor store robberies. A lot of carjackings. Hit a condor. Wow. Head went through the radiator and the wings folded around the blazer. Yeah, well, the condors are huge. Man, lucky he wasn't sighted. That's a friggin' environmental. It's like an endangered species. Yeah. No, you don't realize how big a moose is until you're near one. I've never been near one, but when you see the footage of people that run into them, you realize, oh my God, that thing is enormous. Just enormous. As big as a horse? Bigger than a horse? Yeah, bigger than a horse, yeah. No, freaking huge. That hit a turkey buzzard around 70 miles an hour. Wow. Almost went through the windshield, yeah. I can imagine. You have a lot of raptors. Yeah, you have to be careful about little dogs. We don't really see them now. I haven't seen too many raptors around now because of the, in the summertime. It seems more like a winter thing. You see a lot more of them in the winter. Hey, rookie, what's he pull a ribbon out of my head? Again? Yeah, possums. I've only seen one possum. We had one possum here one time. When we first moved in, I left a bag of trash out on the front porch. And I went out and I look over and there's like a hole in the side of a huge hole in the side of the bag. And there's something in the bag. And it was a friggin' possum. I was like, oh my God, it's a friggin' possum. And went back in the house and gave him some space to get the hell out of there, which he did. I remember there was a raccoon on the top of my trash. And I walked out and it just sort of stood still like, you don't see me. And I like walked past it and it was just sort of like so still. And then I walked past again and it was just like, sort of like, I'm not here. Okay. Yeah, raccoons are tough. You don't want to mess with a raccoon. It's funny, my wife was like, you know, I think there's a dead raccoon outside. I'm like, what makes you say that? She goes, well, I heard, like, you know, a lot of screaming last night, and I think that it was, I think a coyote got a raccoon or something. I said, all right, I'll go take a look at the footage. So I rewind the footage from overnight. Now, of course, I see the raccoons. They're coming from across the street, and they go across and they come down the driveway, but there was no dead raccoon, and there was no coyote. That was not a raccoon being killed. That was raccoon love. That was you were hearing a screams of passion. I think they were making new little raccoons. Yeah, no, the raccoon was literally right on top of my trash can. Like, I walk, you know, I'm coming down the driveway, and he sees me and goes like, I walk past about 10 feet away, walk past it, it's just like completely frozen. I'm like, okay, you gonna play that game? Of course, I go around. At that time, the fence was low enough, I could still see him. I walk around, and he's just like not moving a bit. Like frozen. Like, okay. Saw raccoons fighting at my neighbors and one got pushed off the roof. I saw two squirrels like fighting up in a tree, and one of them came flying out of the tree, fell out of the tree, I think maybe because of the fight, and landed on the roof of my neighbor's car. And I was like, thank God he had a sunroof. I think it prevented it from being dented because it had the tempered glass. That thing hit that, it bounced off to the ground. I was like, oh no, but it got up and ran away. I was like, oh my God, it's a rough life out here. Yep. I've never had a raccoon at the bird feeder because it's too high off the ground and too far away. The squirrels will make a run for it, though. They'll literally start running and then try to run up the side of the house, right? Like, have you ever seen a dog, like, really get going and then try to, like, literally run up the side of a building? And they've done it with some success, but I put the kibosh on that. You just have to cut away anything even remotely close, and then take away just like they had like this little platform they could start on. I just got that out of there. There's like a little stone. You got to move that, and that seemed to work actually. Or it threw them off. Once a squirrel jumped out of a tree and landed on me. I once was so angry at a squirrel, I had this big long board, like a 1x2, right? And, but it was like 12 feet long. And I used the board, and I went up and I went to go whack it. It started running down the board towards me, and I flicked it off. I was like, he was like, oh yeah, bitch, and started running towards me. And I was like, swing! Now you're in the neighbor's yard. Yeah, no, you're right, Tom. That squirrel was a rat. That's why he found himself on the ground. Yeah, I've never had luckily a squirrel in the house. Now I've had them try to get in the house, but they seem to like get thwarted by something. I have to check that, the top of my roof, like way up near they were getting to. I was putting like cayenne pepper up there because they don't like the hot stuff, and that seemed to work. That seemed to thwart them away a little bit. I'll use that for dogs that are peeing on the lawn too much. I'll put a little cayenne pepper out there because it's completely safe. It doesn't hurt the dog. And quite frankly, it falls down in there. But when they sniff around, they smell it and they're like, oh, I don't like this. And they move on. It's just kind of a deterrent until it rains. Then they're back pissing on my lawn again. And we have a lot of dogs peeing on my lawn. It is crazy. They love my lawn for some reason. They friggin' love it. Yeah, the chipmunks are out of control because our outdoor cats are no longer with us, so it's all indoor cats, and they are friggin' crazy. We have so many friggin' chipmunks. Yeah, I know that, right? Yeah, squirrels don't really remember the nuts that they bury. It's just like they're playing the percentages. Like I'll bury nuts for like 6 weeks, and then maybe later on, if I go digging around, I'll find one of these nuts, but they don't remember them. They just know it, right? But starting now, they do like really late August, into September, all through September. They're burying nuts out there, and like you say, they don't really, a bat bite is scary. Oh yeah, no, we had a bat in the house twice, and had to get him out. And it's funny because I got one trapped in a laundry basket, got him outside and released him. And the second I released that bat, I think it was a blue jay or some other bird, like swooped down like, what the hell are you doing here? Like some other bird like went for that bat like immediately. Like, wah! I think it was a blue jay. I was like, well, you don't have many friends out here. Technically, I think the bat was in the house 3 times. Once it was in the bathroom downstairs, and I left the window open and shooed him out. Once it was in the house, and my wife got him, captured him with a laundry basket, and then we just stuck a piece of cardboard under the basket and took him outside, and that's when I released him and the bird went after him. And then a third time I was down here. This is when we had the indoor-outdoor cats. I had the back door open. It was like in the fall. It was really crispy. I was trying to, air out the basement. And that bat came in, flew around one time, and ran back out again. I'm like, my God, I swear to God it was the same friggin' bat. Blue jays are kind of nasty. They're kind of an aggressive bird. Batty, batty, batty. Really? You had a bat bite you asleep? I was sleeping on the bat. I was asleep on the bat bit me, and I thought it was a huge wasp. Woke up. Damn, that's scary. Damn. Yeah, now if only the Toronto Blue Jays were as aggressive as a real Blue Jay. My socks aren't doing that great either. They're what we call just close enough to break your heart, but not quite going to make it. We're going to give you just a tiny ray of hope and then squash it. That's a Floyd Rose. Didn't get any special powers, yeah. Except, can you now do the Batusi? Same with the Mets, a big tease, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Although I don't think the Jackson and the V are in the same month. I got to do that poll soon. We're already up to the 10th. I haven't done the poll for last month. I think the Jackson is this month. So I don't think it's not going to go against the V. Of course that V's going to win. I don't see how it couldn't. I got to go back and look and see what I have for what came out that month. I think it's the V. I want to say the... What else came out in that period? So many guitars. Can't remember now. Silver Sky. The NF3. I think those are all in the same month. Did you buy all these guitars of the week? Oh, hell no. God, no. I don't have that kind of money. No. These are loaners. They're loners. Which is why the plastic is still on these pickups. Because I'm sending it back. It's a loaner. Does it need a string tension bar? No, because this headstock is actually tilted a little bit more back. The other headstock isn't quite the same break angle. So it did not need the tension bar, the retainer bar for this versus the other one. They solved it by having a slightly better tilt back. And I think I'd have to double check, but I think the posts might be a little shorter too. You know. No, you rock, and Rob. Have a great week. Saw an NF3 at my local music shop. Not gonna lie, looked pretty good. Looked pretty cool. They're gonna get it for my son for Christmas. I really like the NF3. It's you know, like I said, you're getting into a pickup system, but it sounded good. If you want something that sounds like a Strat, get the Silver Sky. But the NF3 had kind of like a biting, almost like a P90 tone. But P90s have noise. It was like a noiseless P90, right? Those like narrow field pickups. I thought they sounded pretty good. You know. Have a good one, speaker. Yeah, we're probably going to wrap this up here. Thanks to everybody for hanging out. Super extra special thanks for any who contributed. Welcome to all the new members. Glad to have you. Be sure to check out the Guitar of the Week on Monday. Of course, Brofist to my mod squad. Hashtag Brofist, hashtag mod squad. And we'll do it all again in a week. 1 week from now. And there you have it. No, you rock. And yeah, check out Mondays. Sheer, really big sheer. And there you go. I have several Jacksons. They kick ass. Jackson's always been a pretty decent guitar. Really good. Stay humid, my friend. I'm trying not to. Moose are way bigger than horses. See, someone's a little rewound here, but that's okay. Mooses are biblically huge. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. They're friggin' enormous. You know. All right, dudes. I'm going to wrap it up. Good night to everyone. Have a good one, speaker. Talk soon. And sounded great tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Johnny R. Kramer. And welcome to the membership. And there you go. Love the Jacksons. You know, Jackson, it's a reason why Jackson's still around. You know, it's a classic. It's a classic. Love the Jacksons. You know, and they look nice. Like wicked classy. I'm just saying. Very, very nice. All right, dudes. No, you rock. All right. I will see you in a week. Have a wonderful week. Check out Monday's show. And there you go. Have a great week. And we'll see you later.